Alrighty, hosses, welcome back, and in this video, everything is going to start to make sense and come together, and hopefully you guys are going to have a lot of, I see what's going on now, those kind of moments. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating our models for our music app. Now, a model is just a blueprint of how you want to store your data. So what kinds of data are we going to be saving? Well, we're going to be saving albums and songs. So we need to build blueprints in, for example, we're just going to say, okay, the album needs a title and a genre and like an artist and stuff like that. Now, if you guys are like, all right, you're going to create these blueprints, but are you talking about like for the database or for your actual Python code? Well, this is the cool thing. Whenever you make models in Django, it's the same thing. You don't have to make one for your database and then say, okay, now I have to configure this with my actual code. No. You just make a class right in here, and automatically what Django is going to do is it's going to get each variable from those class and convert it to a column in your database. So it's actually pretty amazing. So open up music, models, and we're going to create our very first class, which is class album. Now, every model or blueprint you create, it has to inherit from models.model. All right, so again, all you do inside these classes is you're just going to create variables. So what does each album have? Let me just go ahead and write artist equals in this variable name. Again, we're just writing a regular Python class, so again, we can just work with it in Python, but later on, whenever we migrate it over to the database, this is actually going to be the same name as a column. So we don't have to write it twice. Django takes care of all of that for us. Pretty sweet. So after this, what we do is we actually set this equal to models, and then the one thing that we need to tell Django is what type of data is this variable going to hold? Is it going to hold text, or is it going to hold a float, or is it going to hold an integer, or maybe something weird? Well, for this tutorial, I'm just going to keep things as simple as possible. And of course, the artist name is just a bunch of text. So that would be a char field. So the one thing that we need to specify whenever we are storing characters or just text is just a max length. So we'll say max length equals, I don't know, how long are people's names? 250, I guess? I don't know, they probably aren't even close to that long, but whatever. All right, so for each album, we need to go ahead and write the artist name, whether it's a band or, you know, just like an artist like Taylor Swift or whatever. And what else? Let's just go ahead and write album title. So what was Taylor Swift's last album? I don't even know what it was. I know Red was one, and then she had another one named Taylor Swift. So yeah, so that's what, you know, would be an example of this. And just like before, this is also just going to be characters. And I don't know, is the album title the same length? Maybe they're longer. So we'll say that we can have 500 characters for that. Now, another thing that we can do is store the genre, whether it's country, rap, whatever. So models, Garfield, max length equals, I don't know, 100. I don't think any genres are more than 100 characters. And I actually thought it would be pretty cool is whenever we were making our website, if for each album, then it had a logo, but I didn't teach you guys how to upload files yet. Eventually we're going to be doing that. So right now we're just going to have to post a link, and that's how we'll display it. We'll just find some image online and use that link of the image. So I'll just say album logo equals Garfield, and we'll say max length equals 1,000, since maybe some of these URLs are going to be kind of big. All right, so this is what an album is going to be made off of. So whenever we're using it in Python, we just use these variables. Whenever we have to, you know, like set that album title to something, and also later on, whenever we look at this in the database, the actual column name is going to be artist. So all that is taken care of behind the scenes. It's going to be cool. Now after this, I'm going to go ahead and create one more class, and I'm just going to name this song. So just like before, and since I'm too lazy to type all that, I'm just gonna go ahead and paste that. Now check this out. So we actually need to associate these in some kind of way. So we can go ahead and create as many albums as we want, and they can just be, you know, kind of their own thing. But whenever we create a song, it needs to be associated with an album. In other words, a song needs to be part of an album. So usually we're going to have like 12 or 15 songs per album. So how do we link these together in that kind of way? Well, what we can do is this. If we make a variable called album, we can go ahead and write models, and instead of just car field, we can write foreign key. Now let me go ahead and type this real quick, and I'll explain what this means. On delete models dot cascade. All right. So, and I'm getting. All right. So first of all, let's go ahead and talk about primary keys. So you know that I said that whenever we create this in our database, we're going to have these 4 columns right there. But actually behind the scenes, Django is going to make another column for us, and this is pretty much a unique ID number. So the very first album we create, it's going to give it the ID of 1. When we create another one, it's going to give it the ID of 2, so on and so forth. And each additional album that we add, it's going to increment it by 1. So why does it do that? I mean, whenever we just try to pick out an album out there, we can just say, hey, give me that album Red. Well, what if not only Taylor Swift has an album called Red, but a couple other bands do as well? Well, then it's going to get confused. All right, so let's just say, okay, give me the albums by Taylor Swift. Well, Taylor Swift probably has like 12 albums or whatever, so it's just a mess if you have all of these pieces of information and you don't know which one to specify. So whenever you have a row in a database, it's always good to have a unique ID number. Now, since one album can only have its ID number, in other words, 2 albums can't both have the ID number of 5, that's why you call it a primary or unique key. So that's what that is, and that's what these albums are going to have behind the scenes. All right, so what is this foreign key? That's kind of weird. All right, so each song is going to be linked to an album. So we'll say that the album Red has the primary key of 1. So basically, whenever we create a song, says Taylor Swift, I don't know, like I Hate My Boyfriend or whatever, we need to link it to an album. So the key, the foreign key for this, is just going to be 1. And that way we know that this song, whatever song we said, is linked to the album 1, which is Red. So again, a primary key is just needed whenever you have a bunch of elements and they each need a unique ID number. A foreign key is used whenever you have something like a song that's part of something else. So you just give it the ID number of whatever it belongs to, and that's what a foreign key is. Now, the only other thing you guys may not know is this. On delete, models cascade. What this means is, all right, since you're going to have a bunch of songs and they need to be part of an album, what happens whenever you delete that album? Well, you just can't have a bunch of songs still because, again, that doesn't make sense. You can't have songs that aren't on any album, at least not in this, kind of program. So we're going to say models cascade on delete, which means whenever we delete the album Red, any songs that were linked to that, then go ahead and delete those as well. And you actually can set it up in some programs where you can say, okay, it's actually okay to delete these things and these things might still exist. I don't know, maybe you had like a forum post and you wanted to delete it, but all of the answers are really good, so you wanted to keep them or something. So that may be an example, but I don't know, I'm getting kind of ahead of myself. Anyways, moving on. Now that you guys had that little primer. All right, another thing I want to store in here is file type. And this can just be like MP3 or I don't know, what's another, a WAV file, whatever weird ones Apple has. And we're just going to store those as, okay, my caps lock is on. and I'm too lazy to do that anyway. So a file type MP3, AVI, or not AVI, WAV. I don't think any file types are longer than 10 characters, so we should be safe there. Now, the last thing we should probably have is the song title. That's pretty important, eh? So, models, carefree old, max, how long is the title? 250? If any title is longer than 250, then whatever. Alright, looking good, mate, looking good. So, albums, we have all the information that we want in there. Songs, okay, we have the album that it's linked to, the file type, and the song title, look good. So, alright.